So, we're going to have an interesting one today. Let me set the stage. I wake up this morning to see a notification on YouTube, and it turns out that later on last night, yesterday morning, slash, early this morning, depending on time zone, what have you, AJ did this hilarious little piece. I'm so glad he's back to more regular streaming. Um, on Whack an Atheist, Ken Hovind versus Carl Sagan. And he actually covered part two of the Sagan whacking, which is what Kent did last night for his actual Whack an Atheist Wednesday. Whereas I hit the first half. And I was like, oh, good. There's no reason for me to do the second half. But then I thought, I want to keep up my pace this week because I'm still feeling like, rolling with stream after stream. I haven't even played Guild Wars today. Surprising, I know. Um, so I hope I got everything I needed to done last night before the daily reset. Anyway, I had an idea, and I've been milling this idea for a while, but what if I did a reaction to a Hovind video, and while being honest and while contradicting, was still in a certain way as nice as possible. So no profanity, trying not to be necessarily like, what's the word? It's not subversive, but kind of adding in extra innuendo and stuff and things, all the normal snark and stuff, just intentionally inhibiting it and just playing it straight and just reacting accordingly and see if it breaks me or not. So that's the idea. That's the game we're going to be playing here. And so, again, I wasn't going to do the video since AJ took care of it, but I thought looking at it this way might be fun. You might get a laugh. It'll be something different. And it will be very, very interesting to see reactions to this or to cite this video as an example of, see, I can be proper according to Hovind. It's just I choose not to because that's the character I play. Enough preamble, though. Glad for everyone who's here. I'll check out the comments here in a second.
Good evening, folks.
Let's do this. That was his audio is low again. It was low on AJ's stream, so I figure it's still kind of rough here. So apologize for that. Nothing I can do about that. Let's get to it.
Folks, Ken Hovind and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Phoenix, Alabama. It is April the 23rd, 2025. Tonight, Back an Atheist, we're going to hit Carl Pagan again. Round two. We covered last night some. I couldn't quite get Psalm 103 ready, but we'll be ready for Sunday, Lord willing. Whack an Atheist. If you like the Whack an Atheist, we're on a bunch of different channels. We're on Rumble, on Facebook, let's see, Twitter. I don't know what all they are, brother, but we're on there. Plus the app. Just get our app, Kent Hovind TV. They can't take that down. What do you think?
Except they can, Kent, because that's all tied into your TV service through Lightcast. Your TV service through Lightcast, your streaming service through Lightcast that you pay the $6,000 a year for. A ludicrous price. Absolutely ludicrous. Someone with basic infrastructure could actually, between that and an Amazon data plan, would be relatively cheap for the actual amount of views you get. And that's not me knocking you. I'm just saying I think that would actually be a more affordable way to go about things. I could help with that, but I'm one of them there atheists that you don't want to associate with, and you would think I'd sabotage everything. So that's not going to happen, and that's fine. I don't want to be paid by you, nor would I actually expect to be paid by you, given your history. But yeah, short answer, they can totally take that down. Also, I didn't have this maximized. They make sure everything's all honky-dory. All right, let's continue.
Here you go. It's free. Costs us $6,000 a year to have it. If you want to help pay for that, please do.
Let's note that he brags about that regularly. This isn't just a request for money. This is Kent bragging.
Most people, what do they do? Charge a subscription normally, Joseph?
Yes, and originally it was $5 a month for your platform. Until I and others made comment, I presume others did, I know I certainly did, that it actually did cost money, even though you were saying it was $1 a year. It was $5 a month or $50 for a year. That changed, and now all the content, which is just the same content on Rumble, is available. with some older videos mixed in as time permits, I guess. I don't know. I don't spend any time on there.
Yeah, well, we just somebody would say we'll pay for it for you. Anyway, same thing with our dinosaur adventure, open for free. We did it for 9 years. God gave us the property. Look, God, you provide.
No, some person who likes you gave you the property. A real person who we can go meet and ask them, why on earth did you give Kent Hovind property? You understand his history, right? Okay, we just wanted to make sure. Nothing was divine. That was all mortal interactions. Man, being nice during this is a challenge, but I'm going to power through. It's not super hard, but the instinct to just go on a rant keeps taking hold. I think I've been good this whole stream. I think everything has been rated G so far. Let's continue.
God, the finances are your problem, God. I'm going to keep going. Until we run out of money, and then I'm going to quit. Okay. So, right, go push one of those buttons and something will blow up. I think Roku and Fire.
That actually amused me very slightly, but it really did. Push one of those buttons and something will blow up. My friend, a friend of mine from way back, his older brother, that's how I joked about his audio video setup, was that if you push the wrong combination of buttons, it would cause the planet to explode. It just seemed that way because he had everything hooked up to it, which was a marvel at the time. You know, we're talking in the late 90s, every game system ready to go. Quite novel, quite amazing. I actually figured it out.
I don't know what all it is to do that. Liberals, Democrats, I'm sorry, Kamala Harris voters do not watch this. We're going to.
Let the record show that I have currently been far nicer than Kent Hovind has in this stream. He is being very, very rude, and I am proceeding to be as nice as possible while still affirming that I disagree with many of his statements and find him to not be a pleasant person.
Pick on your hero, Carl Pagan, okay? I'm not sorry if patriotism offends you, because your lack of spine offends me. I offer you.
But Kent, I certainly have a spine, for I am a chordate. Well, actually, chordate. Remind me, does chordate specifically mean having the spinal column, or does that mean having vertebrae? I think it's the spinal column. The nerve sections is what I'm trying to say. I think the bone is secondary to that. Let me make sure. Chordate. Chordate is the third largest phylum in the animal kingdom. Is one of the most ancient. Oh, I gotta click on the Wikipedia tab. All right, share this tab instead. Bilaterian animal. Oh yeah, bilateral symmetry is key. 5 synapomorphies are notochord, hollow dorsal nerve cord, endostyle. That sounds like a dance move or a music genre. Thyroid. I got one of those. Pharyngeal slits. Oh wait, yeah, it's synapomorphies and postanal tail. Huh? Pharyngeal slits. That's funny. It got brought up without even going for Kent and Haeckel. All right, let's continue.
If I offend you, cry me a river. I'll bring snacks and raft, and then I'll float down the river.
Yeah, thank you, Laura, and everyone else. I had I always have little moments there. My memory just isn't 100%, and you can hear me working through the problem. You can probably also hear me gritting my teeth as I talk, trying very hard to not do anything too crass. But hey, we've made it over a minute and 18 seconds into Hovind's video, and I've been good.
On your tears, eating chips and working on my tan. Yeah. So if I'm offended you, here, look at it. Did you see this, Joseph?
Kent, I agree with AJ. That tan is a little weird, a little creepy. I don't like it.
Tan line. Yeah, I got another one I won't show you. Okay, let's see. I would like to apologize to anyone I have not yet offended. Please be patient. I'll get to you shortly, okay? If I offend you, I'm really sorry. I will tone it down. 1 and 2 are lies. I don't care. Right?
And as AJ points out in his wonderful video, which you must go check out, especially his hilarious mini rant about me watching so much Kent content that I had to avoid bursting out laughing in front of coworkers hearing that in one ear while we were working on something like about 6:30 this morning. I hear that and I just start chuckling and having to hold it in. It was great. So yeah, check out AJ's video. But he points out that Kent is one of those people who has an obsession with offending people. That's become like a character trait with certain types of people, especially in the far right American political stance. And it's not really a good trait. I mean, yeah, if I self-reflect the character I play, part of it is kind of going overboard to offend, but it's on a matter of finding nothing sacred. It's kind of a George Carlin approach, I want to think. Not comparing myself to him, just saying that's an inspiration, you could say. Um, Kent and others like him just do it to be mean.
I like that. I'm sorry if I offend you with my common sense. Okay, anyway, April 23rd, Carl Pagan, he believed he did. He doesn't anymore. He used to believe in evolution. Okay, this July, in a couple months, we are going in July the 4th or 6th, I'm sorry, up to Kentucky. For the atheists are having a rally up there against Ken Ham. We're going to go up there and try to get some common sense.
That is true. It really is just a darker shade of the normal stuff. It's not a tan in the conventional sense. I mean, I've kind of got the farmer's tan going on for the little bit of time outside I do spend. And yeah, it's just a slightly darker version of my normal tone. Otherwise, yeah, I just burn like Zach here. No, he's a little orange himself. Nothing wrong with being colorblind. Except, if you need to differentiate certain colors. But, I'm going to fault you for it. Let us continue with the Hovind. We've made it over 2 minutes in, people. We can do this.
Sense into the people that have to listen to the blabber of the atheists who believe there's no God. If you know where that is, Ken Ham's Noah's Ark, there's Lexington, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, and right there in the middle of it. And we've been saying,
I'm rather impressed at the number of people who can pronounce Louisville, Kentucky properly. I was meant to say Louisville properly, but I said Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky. Uh, they can pronounce that properly, but can't pronounce other place names properly. It's interesting, but Louisville you do hear in more common context. But I don't know, it just kind of amuses me.
some guys from Washington years ago did the wrap on my van, did an awesome job. And I'd like to, we sold the van. The guy in St. Louis bought it. I'd like to do the same thing on the Toyota Prius. You imagine dinosaurs going headed toward Noah's Ark, or on the old Chevy truck. Dinosaurs going toward. I just cut and pasted the side, but it's the best I can do. Can you tell? Can you tell it's not actually a wrap on there? Okay. Uh, now that Trump's cleaning house, tell his staff to call me ASAP about my case. It was pure evil what they did to me.
Kent, he doesn't care about your case, and what was done to you was traditional American justice. Honestly, it's impressive that they actually bothered with you, given that a lot of tax cheats seem to get away with it. Our economic system seems to be designed around the rich not paying their fair share. But apparently, you angered the right kind of people, and they decided to make your case into an issue. And I, for one, thank our federal agents for that. I'm doing a thumbs up grin gesture over here. You can't see it. But yeah. Are they still listening? Anyway.
The government broke 100 laws to put me in prison with the weaponized justice system.
That is a lie, Kent.
We went today to Montgomery and talked to quite a few political officials up there about this. Gave out a whole bunch of videos and thumb drives with my open letter to Donald Trump that I did on February 1st on all my channels. So go back there, watch that.
Kent, printouts which contained a link to it, a short URL or something, would have been far more cost effective than giving out flash drives which contain a copy of your video. You are concerned about the operating costs of Dinosaur Adventureland, and yet you spend relatively modest, yet still at scale, exorbitant amounts of money on what are even now somewhat primitive methodologies. As convenient as flash drives are, for stuff like that, many people would simply use quote unquote the cloud, remote storage.
See what they did to me. See, look what they did.
Indeed, some people are extremely wary of plugging in any kind of device given to them from somebody else into one of their systems unless they know exactly who the person is and trust that person. I procured a flash drive from someone who said that the information in it would show me the truth. And I have never plugged that into any devices because I do not know what it actually is, what it could contain. I don't think I want to know. I simultaneously do not wish to destroy it, as if I find a sacrificial system, I will one day plug that drive in and see what material is on there, and then promptly do what I must with it. But as it stands, it's sitting in a kind of purgatory. Just saying. I always have to throw a few stories in here.
It was wrong. This need to be stopped. Okay, let me get to Carl Whack an Atheist here. It's going to be, where is it? Oh, join our 777 club. Help us open for free. drdiner.com. I got to change that. 9.02 days.
Oh yes, I'm certainly not saying that they pronounce it like correctly. However, instead of saying Louisville, they at least say Louisville in some form. It's like in Atlanta, the a northern city, uh, written as Marietta, is generally pronounced Meretta by the locals. Kent doesn't know what the cloud is. No, certainly, but his tech people do. In all seriousness.
Anyway, 9 years we've been open. Whack an Atheist. I forgot to change the name. It's been a busy day, brother. As soon as I got home, had tours to give. I'm tired.
Yes, very busy day. Gave tours. Didn't have anything else to do in the meantime.
Let's see. No, I can't hold it. Let's see. Whack an Atheist. There's a whack-a-mole. They stick their head up. You whack them back down. Game the kids play, I guess. I played it one time. It was fun. Kids love it. Adults love it. I played it. One time I did it. I enjoyed it.
We're 3 minutes 45 in, and I haven't broken yet. Am I doing good at this? Am I being nice? I know I'm throwing a little bit of counterpoints on there, countering him, pushing against. But I mean, that's not gonna, change. But am I am I succeeding in being the better person here? If someone was to look at this objectively, I just want to make sure.
I want to do it again. But I like to whack an atheist. They stick their head up, say something stupid, we smack them back down. Even in
And that's why I do whack a Hovind, because many of the things you say, in fact, nearly all of them, are some level of falsehood, or I dare say, outright lying. And I wish to give reaction to those comments from you.
Christian love. So many atheists, so little time. Who gets whacked first? The winner tonight is Carl Pagan. Sagan, I'm sorry. Carl Sagan was Jewish. His mother was Jewish in an Orthodox and conservative Judaism. Those with a Jewish mother are considered Jewish. Additionally, his father was Jewish, making Sagan's heritage entirely Jewish. But that's fine. But those Jews, if any...
Then why did you bring it up, Kent? It seems like that's a big issue for you. And sometimes I too will get mildly fixated on slightly random details about something because I feel they add context for the visual of it or an understanding of something, but it really doesn't change. Like if you removed it, the story would still work. So that's a fault people sometimes have. But you seem to do this quite often as if it's an attack, and especially when you follow it up with, and that's fine, implying that by saying it, you create a subtle attitude towards it being something particular, something special of note for a reason, i.e., its detrimental nature, or presumed detrimental nature in one way or another. And that's not cool. In a sense, you said the quiet part out loud and the loud part quiet.
Anybody should know about the Word of God. They should. They're the ones that wrote most of it out. And they don't follow it. Guys, wake up. Jesus was the Messiah. You missed him. He rode in on a donkey, and he said in Isaiah he was going to do that. 500 years later, he does it. And you guys, they clapped and cheered. Yeah, here comes the king. And they laid their clothes down in the road to drive the donkey on. And then 3 days later, they crucified him. He said, okay, I'll work with the Gentiles for a while. He's not done with you guys, though. You're coming back. You just watch. Okay, we left off.
Wasn't it the Romans who actually were in charge and actually made the action happen? I'm not too familiar with the story because it's not a story that interests me. I know it was local municipalities that sort of handled things, but was it not technically under Roman jurisdiction? I don't really care, but I just must say this, that it seems like it was influenced, shall we say, as an action.
Also, right about here, Carl Sagan's video about how it's important, science is important. We need to get rid of religion. Okay, let's see, got to go here. There we go.
New and old ideas. I think that is the path to the future, not just for science, but for all human institutions. We have to be willing to challenge because we are in desperate need of change.
I agree. Carl, is it okay to challenge evolution too, or is that already established? Is it okay to challenge the geological column?
Kent, those things have been challenged. That's why they're now so widely accepted as brute fact, because they've gone through their challenges. They've been contested, and they've come out on top. We're past that stage in discussing those aspects of reality. You wish to quite literally pull us backwards and have us arguing about basic known facts in the same way that flat earthers wish to do the same. There's no reason to go backwards. We're done with that type of stuff, and in some cases have been for literally millennia, again, in the flat earth situation. Let us move forward. And if that involves abandoning religion, then that's fine.
You guys are claiming all these layers are different ages. Stop and think. If the top layer is younger, where did it come from? Did it come from outer space? How can this dirt be 2.5 billion years old? But this dirt's only 10,000 years old. Where was all that dirt sitting for 2.499 billion years? Huh?
Material gets arranged and rearranged, Kent. But the thing about geologic strata, and these are things I thought about while listening to AJ's coverage of this video, thus they became kind of a catalyst for me wanting to cover this myself. And then I added in the idea of being as nice as possible, being polite and proper during this to prove said point, or whatever point I do have here. I don't know what exactly it is, beyond my ability to do that. Kent, once you reach the point of something becoming geologic strata, it's kind of, no pun intended, cemented. Its properties, its nature, its makeup they're not going to change unless that layer is effectively destroyed. You're no longer talking about conventional dirt and conventional topsoils, conventional standard soil, or anything of the sort. That's the layer we're in. We're talking past that, when that stuff has been concreted, has been, had the magma layers go, or had, lava go over it, and igneous rock layer be however thick it is, and all the various ways that we have geologic processes doing this thing. I don't know. This is the part where I'd go into a flurry of insulting you, but I cannot do that because I'm, again, proving a point that I'm the better person. I'm also not a geologist and rough on this stuff as much as I do like it and think volcanoes are really cool. Love Mount St. Helens. But it suffices to say your understanding is you're treating, as you will say often, dirt as what everything is when it's not. It's rock layers, it's limestone, it's, clay deposits, it's coal. It's an understood hierarchy of stratigraphic layers that have particular defined properties as a result of having been buried by the newer material, which people like the lovely Laura, builder of the Globe Theater Lego scale, have pointed out time and time again that we get new soil from, plant leaves, the grass, all this stuff, all this material. That adds to the layer. That's one of many sources that adds material and helps with the layers. That's why things get buried. Really shouldn't be this hard to explain. This is one of those things that the only reason I stammer over it is because I don't understand why I'd have to explain this to a 72-year-old man. But here we are.
How can this be younger than this? This geologic column was made up 200 years ago. It doesn't exist, guys. It's stupid. Just think about it on its face. It's not common sense to say the layers are different ages. If I shuffle a deck of cards, Is the top card younger? Is it okay to challenge this, Carl, or is that established? We're not allowed to challenge that. Yeah, I think you should be allowed to challenge it. That's what science is about. You guys teach these stupid charts that all the creatures in the world.
You know, something I love is the footage of, I think it's from Cosmos proper. It's from something, and I'm 99% sure it is Carl Sagan walking, and he's walking in front of, I believe the one of the a displayed Saturn V, and the shot is timed particularly to be looking at Launch Complex 40, I believe, at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station at the time. For I want to think Titan 2, Voyager 2's launch on the Titan 3E or Titan Centaur booster in 77. I say that because Voyager 2 was launched first, and it's the one that did the grand tour of all four of the outer gas giant planets. Voyager 1 only did Jupiter and Saturn. It was a matter of the way the gravity assists were that they launched in the particular order they did. It doesn't matter. It's a one shot. They had to do it in that take because that was an actual Titan launch, and it's a beautiful one, especially given that it is my favorite family of boosters, the Titans, especially my favorite variant, the Titan 3, evolving into the Titan 4 series. I could just watch Titan launches all day.
Are related and came from a common ancestor, and humans are related to sunflowers. This is what they teach. Would it be okay if I challenge that? No, you can't challenge that. We know that's true.
We're all very certain that Kent had been dyeing his hair quite a bit, and given that he is naturally blonde, it makes sense for it to have grayed out to that degree, just straight naturally. But yeah, he was dyeing it for a while. There's older videos you can find where his hair is almost black from him dyeing it. It's kind of weird, to say the least.
True. You guys are just blind idiots. I'm sorry. There's no kind way to tell you. Is there a kind way to tell somebody stupid that they're stupid? You've tried? You can't see it? Okay. That's stupid, guys, okay? Hey, let Carl keep talking here. So, Carl, I think you've got a good idea there. We should challenge ideas because maybe they're harming society. Yeah.
Yes, like fundamentalist right-wing hyper-Christianity. Incredibly detrimental to society. My life would certainly be better without it.
Like evolution is harming society.
It's not that pseudoscience and superstition and New Age so-called beliefs and fundamentalist zealotry are something new. They've been with us for as long as we've been human. But we live in an age based on science and technology with formidable technological powers.
Science and technology are propelling us forward at accelerating rates.
That's right. And if we don't understand it, by we, I mean the general public, if it's something that, oh, I'm not good at that, I don't know anything about it, then who is making all the decisions about science and technology that are going to determine what kind of future?
Carl, you need to do a little research on who developed most of our technology. Most of the founders of modern science in the last 400 years have been Bible-believing Christians.
As AJ brings up in his video, a lot, especially when you get into past 200 plus years, you go over that mark, you start getting to a lot of Catholics, which Kent would deny necessarily are Christians. But that's absolutely regardless. It has no relevance to the facts that they discovered, what they understood, what they calculated, what they wrote down, what they figured out. Their religious background is absolutely irrelevant. It may have had some inspiration for something like Linnaeus coming up with taxa, but then that caused people to start noticing patterns that didn't match up. And, well, at a point, you got to choose sides.
Who did it, trying to find out why God did things a certain way he did. Evolution has never had anything to do with science. It's a pagan religion mixed in with science. And I'm sorry. If you want to believe it, yay, go for it. But don't call it science, and don't mix it in with our science books, and don't force all of us to pay for that pagan religion to be taught in schools. I think we should challenge evolution.
It's not a religion, Kent. Even if it was, it most certainly wouldn't be pagan by any stretch of the imagination. Um, Thus, it is science, as the scientists who actually do science have declared it to be. It's perfectly adequate for schools. And again, you really shouldn't bring up paying of taxes and funding schools, given your track record. The comments you are on record as having said the 9 years of your life you will never get back, and the tax free status of Dinosaur Adventureland. You do not pay for public schools. That's simple, Kent. You don't. Not in any direct way.
Too late for you, but I'm going to challenge the rest of them. Think about it. Evolution is stupid. Real dumb. There's no. If you think I'm wrong, call tonight or tomorrow night or next night. Get 3 nights in a row now. Prove me wrong. Show me what the evidence is for evolution. There is none. Nobody's ever seen a cow produce a non-cow. Never. And I switched from dogs to cows. You know why? Dogs has 4 letters in it, and cows only has 3. And I'm always in
Cows only has 3 letters. COWS, 3 letters.
a hurry. I'm trying to get it done faster. So cows have baby cows. Okay.
Here our children live in. This combustible mixture of ignorance and power, sooner or later, is going to blow up in our faces.
Which is the exact political climate we have now. Please excuse me, I had a bit of a coughing fit a moment ago.
Ignorance and power. You mean like Adolf Hitler? He was ignorant of real science. He thought
Wow. Where 9 minutes in, and he broke Godwin's law.
they were inferior species like you Jews, Carl. And watch my video number 5. That's the one that got me arrested. When they came with the SWAT team to my house in Pensacola, they said, get every DVD number 5 you can find. The dangers of evolution. It's still in our series, by the way.
Yes, and if that was the forbidden knowledge which caused you to be arrested, there would be no way, shape, or form you would be able to distribute that. It would have been stopped. They would have continued to push against it. Again, the strangeness of this they being all powerful, yet also completely incompetent in every single case. Am I still being nice to Kent? I know I'm being too nice, but I mean, am I still meeting the criteria of the challenge? Have I accidentally slipped and said any naughty words or anything? I certainly think not, but I just want to make sure.
Because that was Adolf Hitler. I show the direct line between Charles Darwin, blank, 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 Adolf Hitler. Why did he kill the Jews? He thought they were an inferior species that evolved as far. Yeah, Carl, it's going to blow up in your face. I'm sorry. You just don't see it. You're blind. Not anymore. Okay, go ahead, Carl.
I mean, who is running the science and technology in a democracy if the people...
Speaking of the Saturn V, how you doing? Good to see you. Even if you're just a CG rendering, that's also pretty dang incorrect. Is this AI? I feel like this is AI.
don't know anything about it. And the second reason that I'm worried about this is that science is more than a body of knowledge. It's a way of thinking, a way of...
And that's the most key factor of all, is that science is a way of thinking. It's a methodology. It's a beautiful one, too.
skeptically interrogating the universe with...
We allowed to skeptically interrogate whether the evolution theory is true?
It's been done, much like the other subjects you brought up that I made the statement to. You're in the past. We're beyond that point. All the skepticism of the stuff, the key challenging of this stuff, has been done. It failed. We've moved forward.
See, you want to skeptically interrogate everything else except that religion. I know how it goes.
A fine understanding of human fallibility. If we are not able to ask skeptical questions,
you should ask skeptical questions. Okay? If I flip this thing over, Carl, and make 20 or 30 or 40 layers in a few minutes in this sand art toy, or this one, either one, maybe since the Earth is round, we'll use this one, okay? Are these layers different ages? This will form layers in minutes. They're not different.
Yes, and you start a timer when each layer is determined to have formed, and you will notice they will be out of sync. Yet, interestingly, will always have the same difference in time between one and another of however long it was between each one having been determined to have formed, having been cemented as, all right, this layer formed. Oh, this layer formed. That's how the measurement works. It's that simple, and you've been told it a million times. And I'm just bringing it up again since this is a stream people might actually watch who are opposed to people like me. Um, and they might just see the problem in what you say here, how flawed it is.
ages. Huh. How can you guys look at these layers and say they're different ages all over the world?
How can you look at your children and say they are different ages, Kent? They're all made of the same materials, they're the same age. So your children are all the same age, right?
Petrified trees are found standing up, running through those layers. How do you explain that? How do you explain an amoeba turning to a whale and a human on your stupid chart? How do you explain life starting from non-living material? How do you explain the whole universe fitting in a dot smaller than an atom? You can't squeeze a cup of water into a dot smaller than an atom, Carl. Is it okay to be skeptical of that and ask questions? Why don't you evolutionists ask questions about your own religion? You've been taught it all your life and you believed it and you like it because it gives you freedom from God. I understand. Why don't you be skeptical? Carl's got a good point here. We should be skeptical and ask questions and interrogate. That's what I do. And they hate me for it. Okay, let's see.
Ah, yes, the cries of chicken from somebody who will never debate anyone on that person's terms always requires people to contact him to set up such debates. Always has to be under very controlled circumstances, under a very rigid framework. But he decries others as chickens. Sure, Kent.
Interrogate those who tell us that something is true. To be
It's okay to interrogate somebody who tells us something is true. Well, look, let's do that in Kentucky. Let's go up there and interrogate those guys who say there's no God. How do you know such a thing? How could you possibly know that? Like the one guy.
No, Justin, but AJ did cover this last night. This is his Wednesday video that Kent did because he decided to do this video on Carl Sagan 2 nights in a row. This is Kent Hovind we're talking about. He will be hyperfixated on these things for a very long time, and if he has nothing else going on, will just continue to do these things. Sometimes doing the same video multiple times in a row, like fully, as he did Simon Dan a few times. But no, AJ did his thing on this last night, and I had an idea of doing my own reaction to this while also being extremely nice and proper, not using any words that are deemed forbidden or anything of the sort, just to prove a point.
This atheist guy said, I'm an atheist. His friend said, well, have you studied all the religions? No. Have you studied all the different gods? No. Well, then you're not an atheist. You're an idiot. Could it be that one's, someplace you haven't looked? Yeah, you're an idiot. That's all.
Have you studied every single religion, Kent, in detail? I don't think so. But you choose to reject all the others. It's funny. You can insult the others for that, but you won't self-reflect and realize that you're doing the same thing.
skeptical of those in authority, then we're up for grabs.
Students, listen to what he just said. Just because a teacher's up there teaching something does not mean they're in authority in that class. Doesn't mean they're right. You should be skeptical. And if they ask a question on the test that you have to take a test to get a grade, and they say, how old is the Cenozoic era? You can write down, teacher, the Cenozoic era went from, according to the book, it went from 65 million years ago to the present. However, this is stupid. Write that on there, see what they do.
Yeah, that's not how you answer questions on a test. That is behavior that you, in other videos, have decried. Such rebellious behavior. Usually when you bring up your military analogies. It's interesting that you support that kind of insubordination there, and I hate to use the term there, but it's the only word I find apt in this particular case, that kind of effective insubordination there, but it's not okay in other facets of life. When is rebellion acceptable to you? Because there seems to be a line. And of course, that line always falls in when it's convenient.
Okay? It is stupid.
For the next charlatan, political or religious, who comes ambling along. It's a thing that Jefferson laid great stress on. It wasn't enough, he said, to enshrine some rights in a constitution or a Bill of Rights. The people had to be educated, and they had to practice their skepticism and their...
Bingo. Let's do that with evolution also. Come on now.
Skepticism does not mean doubting everything. Skepticism means to at least have a level of reservation on new data, to at least want to verify it. And there's a fine line between over-accepting or under-accepting facts and reality. People who believe every conspiracy theory they hear yet simultaneously deny actual science, versus other stuff where people are so rigid on what they believe, even in a scientific sense, they refuse to accept change, like the people who continue to whine about the reclassification of Pluto, even though that was 19 years ago, and in the grand scheme, it doesn't matter at all. There's a balance that you know you've reached once the world makes sense. But for you to fight this hard, this isn't skepticism. This is bullheadedness, driven by your prejudices, by your outright obsession, ironically, with evolution, and with the idea that you feel you are somehow specially chosen to defend the eternal creator of the universe, who should need no defense from what the world obviously shows us. I just find that extremely weird.
Education. Otherwise, we don't run the government. The government runs us. What is faith? It is belief in the absence of evidence.
This is what evolution is. There is no evidence of any animal ever changing to something else.
Except, as I say every single time, Kent, there is. And you hand-waving it away and dismissing it as remotely invalid, when every other scientist out there, save for a few who have dubious credentials, shall we say, accepts it. I'm going to trust what they say versus what you say.
You have faith that it happened, but your faith is in the absence of evidence. That's why it's a religion. And you're welcome to have it, but quit calling it science. Does that make him mad, Joseph, when I say that? A little bit? Good.
Now, I don't propose to tell anybody what to believe, but for me, believing when there's no compelling evidence is a mistake.
Bingo. That's what you guys should do with evolution. There is no compelling evidence that matter can create itself out of nothing or near nothing.
One, that has nothing to do with evolution, and two, that's not something anybody says in the way you're trying to convey it. And the funny thing is, again, depending on how you define nothing, that phenomena does occur in the form of virtual particles, because the very substrate of the universe, to borrow a physical phrase to describe it, is, how to describe it, sort of a bubbling mass of potential. And sometimes those fields get out of whack just enough to where you have a nice, normal matter and antimatter pair form. And then they immediately, barring being near, let's say, a black hole, immediately recollide, annihilate, balance is maintained, everything's good. When you get to the real nitty-gritty of the universe, it behaves in really odd ways, very beautiful ways, but extremely odd. And we're trying to figure that out. But in all our searching and all our questing and all our deep dives into the very fabric of reality, we still have yet to find any deity. Period. Everything just continues to be more and more physics all the way down. But back on the subject of evolution, a simple understanding of how genetics actually works will show quite clearly evolution is a requirement. It can't not happen. That's a really wild thought, is once you realize that once you have life, you have these self-replicating molecules, but this slight penchant for mutation, you can't not have evolution. You can't stop the change from happening. And attempts to stop evolution will ironically cause more of it. It's really fascinating when you think about it. But that's a ramble for another time. Let us continue. I've made it almost halfway through, and I have been very nice to Kent, while still being firm on my opposition to him. Let's see if I can make it through the end.
Like a big bang. There's no evidence for that. There's no evidence that the universe all came from a dot. There's no evidence that life got started from non-living material. There's no evidence that living things have been able to change to a different kind 20 times.
Well, there's no such thing as a kind, but ignoring that, scientifically, I should say, every single thing you said, there actually is evidence for. You're just being dismissive just because, as you repeat your mantras. And those you have who, for whatever reason, choose to be there, listen to it as they have every day since they got there, and as they will every day until they leave.
The Bible says in the first 7 chapters.
On a side note, I've noticed that Grantham has not made it back yet. Let us not forget that Grantham and Jessica Simpson left DAL a few months ago to handle being able to be in custody of their own child again, which I will refrain from making any kind of comment on beyond bringing that fact up. But we're intending to come back down, but it is now late April and they still have not come back. It may still be a little early from the planned time, but again, I highly doubt we will see them.
They're going to bring forth after their kind. That's all anybody's ever seen. Now, the evidence points to they bring forth after their kind. Cows have cows, dogs have dogs, cats have cats. There's no exceptions. But so the compelling evidence is for creation. Yeah.
Billy, surprisingly, I've thought the same thing as I listened to him talk. His particular cadence, delivery, while much more refined than me, but because he's actually writing a script versus doing this off the cuff, um, I too have noticed the similarities. I rather like it. And Squirrel Tactics is an awesome channel. You should all definitely check it out. Seth, thank you very much. Loving the topic and views on it. Top shelf stream. I am trying my best with this one. Again, proving a point.
You don't like that.
The idea is to withhold belief until there is compelling evidence. And if the universe does not comply.
Yes, Bolin back at DAL for the 3rd time brings up Big Bad Mama. It's almost as if some people cannot escape DAL, as if they have trouble integrating with regular society for one reason or another, which I don't wish to necessarily fault them for, but it should be thought about. Make of it what you will.
Comply with our predispositions, okay, then we have the wrenching obligation to accommodate to the way the universe really is.
I agree. That's the way it really is, Carl. Life doesn't come from non-living material. Animals produce after.
Define living and non-living. Every single individual component that makes up any bit of life is in and of itself non-living. But the behaviors of the mass assemblage can be described as alive based on what we define life as. That too is an interesting thought. I'm just full of interesting thoughts today. It's like the conundrum of, are viruses alive? They meet most of the criteria, but not all. And indeed, if they are not alive, they are most certainly non-living material that very directly interacts with living material through their genetic code injection into cells of whatever host they are using. That really brings up some questions. And indeed, I find the very fact that viruses existing, in fact, I think that actually did, as I learned what a virus actually was one of the factoids that helped destroy my, accepting, fully acknowledging, very tenuous belief in any kind of deity in the creationist Abrahamic kind of way, in that viruses simply were not compatible with these ideas. And so the ideas had to be discarded because the viruses are real. The science about them is real. But the stories in man made mythology, all of them except that particular one in this area, are all seen as just myths, just legends, just stories. I decided to go with reality.
To their kind. That's the way it really is. You know, you accommodate your belief to the reality. And all you evolutionists need to quit daydreaming and SpongeBob imagination. Just imagine if we had billions of years. That's not science.
I hadn't thought to look at the wedding ring situation because I swear it was on a few days ago. He hasn't made a statement, but maybe he's actually acknowledging stuff. Or maybe he took it off and just forgot to put it back on. Or maybe he lost it on the tour. But you think he would have spent the first 25 minutes of the video discussing that subject?
So you step forward to say, I deny all religion because I can't see it proved scientifically.
No. You see,
and the value of religious experience and the value of reaching for higher experiences.
let me say, religion deals with history, with poetry, with great literature, with ethics, with morals.
Carl, where do you atheists get your morals?
It has been explained numerous times that we're a social species, and through a combination of personal interactions combined with our nature brought about by evolution and by the possibly very rough outcomes of those who did not play well by the rest of the species' feelings on the matter, um, it seems to be an emergent property of us being a social species. It's relatively innate, with, of course, aberrations, but generally speaking, if a person is in society, they usually come out somewhat okay. They usually integrate well enough. It's not perfect, but the actions taken by most people on a day to day basis are, at their most harmful, obnoxious. Very few people truly go to a point of doing anything that people would consider truly wrong, truly criminal, or worse. Morality is well explained by our nature, by emergent complexity of us as a species. I hope that makes sense. I have trouble phrasing this one, but I've been working on it each stream.
I asked one of the congressmen we talked to today, about if evolution is true, how do you tell right from wrong? I've often asked the question, is it wrong to go next door and kill your neighbor's baby and eat it? Yeah. Well, the lion does it to the zebra all the time. Doesn't he? Go next.
Last time he brought this up, I thought about it, and I'm watching something. Maybe I was rewatching one of AJ streams, and he brought it up. I do want to point out that in his analogy, the first thing brought up is an interspecies interaction that is in the same way as us consuming, let's say, chicken meat for those good dino nuggets. Whereas the other suggestion he brings up is cannibalism. Very dark cannibalism at that. So, not that there's really stages to that subject, but you know what I mean, and the additional criteria of it. It's a false analogy on that front alone. And he knows it is, because that's why he and other creationists use analogies like that. They're always false.
Next door, kill the baby zebra and eat it. Why don't you guys go to Africa and hold up a sign? Lions, stop eating the zebras. I will pay for the sign if you'll go stand there and hold it. That'd be fair.
Can I be jealous for a moment and say I wish someone would fangirl over me? Oh. least I'm honest, unlike Kent, even if being a bit playful. A bit.
Including the morality of treating compassionately the least fortunate among us.
Passionately the least fortunate. If you read Darwin's book,
Kent is most certainly given his fossils, in quotes, many of which are just cases of permineralization. Ones he or others own. Like the pickle he likes to bring up from time to time. It's not fossilized. It's permineralized. It's been encrusted with stuff. It's still a pickle. It did not change into a different kind of object, Kent.
book, Carl? Yeah, the origin of species by means of natural selection or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. If they're just weaker, that's their fault. This is Adolf Hitler 101. Let's kill off the weaker. Only the strongest should survive. You guys can't see how evolution is A, it's not science, and B, it's dangerous. Prove me wrong. Okay.
Yes. All of these are things that I endorse wholeheartedly. Where religion gets into trouble is in those cases that it pretends to know something about science.
That is stupid. Religion pretends to know something about science. It's okay to know a lot about science and still be religious.
That's a statement I can agree with. However, Kent, you again very dishonestly always wish to equate evolution with religious status when the two concepts are not compatible. In that one cannot describe evolution as a religion. Now, one could have an almost religious like fervor over certain aspects of science, including evolution, such as Gutsick Gibbon and her absolute love of hominids and apes in general. She's incredibly passionate about that, and that's a thing I love about her. It's in the same way if you get me talking about, anyone talking about the things they're passionate about, but especially me, like earlier when I brought up the Titan 3 and Titan 4 rocket family. I could go on and on about them, but I have to refrain myself because I'm trying to produce good content here. And if people wanted to hear me talk about rockets, I should just start a show talking about rockets. Tangent aside, people can be religious and be scientific, but there has to be a partition between the two. Otherwise, problems occur. Something has to give. That's all I can say on that.
You guys won't admit that evolution's a religion. You've mixed it in with science thoroughly. I like science. Taught it 15 years. Algebra.
No, Kent, you don't like science with the way you describe things, the way you talk about subjects, and many of the subjects you rally against are some of the most incredible in science. And I highly doubt you have ever done any, and I'm not the only one who doubts this, that you have done any practical teaching of any real level beyond cursory stuff. Your teaching skills are subpar at the most absolute generous analysis.
I taught algebra, geometry, trig, and biology, earth science, and physics. 15 years. I have a busy schedule. I like being busy, don't I? I try to squeeze every minute as much as I can. I was busy, believe me. I love it. Now, where is the science behind evolution?
I would like to note that his stream has gone off sync again. It does that from time to time, sometimes without any clear reason as to why. Also, am I still being nice to Kent? I want to make sure that I'm still being as nice as I can be.
Where's the scientific evidence? You guys don't have it. You have the religion. And it's okay to have a religion, and it's okay to have, and the Bible has a lot of science in it. The Bible says they'll bring forth after their kind. That's a claim. We can make a prediction on that. One of our cows up on the North 40 is pregnant. I would even bet $5 it's going to be a calf. Even though the cow is mixed with the donkeys, mixed with the sheep, there's squirrels running around up there. It's not going to be half squirrel, half cow. What would that be called? A squirrel? Something like that. Okay. Yeah, I guarantee it won't be one. We got armadillo running around up there. It would be an armacow or whatever they call it, a cowodillo or something. It's not.
I, for one, support the cowodillo. Actually, no, I don't, because then I imagine something the size of a cow but is armored. That is a nightmare. I regret I withdraw my support for the Cowardillo. We must not play God and create the Cowardillo. None of us would survive.
Not going to be one. I guarantee it's going to be a cow. It's been that way all through history. That's all anybody's ever seen. But you guys believe the cow came from an amoeba or protozoa, or single-celled creature, over millions of years, of course.
Ah, but Deviant, you are engaged. So it just doesn't have the same. I don't know what the word is. It just isn't quite the same.
Yeah, for billions of years. I'm sorry.
The science in the Bible, for example, was acquired by the Jews from the Babylonians.
The Bible was inspired by God.
A fair point regarding the teaching claims. He likely hasn't truly taught anything, but lectures he may count as teaching. That is a very good analysis.
Now, the Babylonians may have had some truth in what they taught. The Sumerians might have had some truth in what they taught. But God inspired, where the word spire means breathe, expire, you breathe out, respiration, respirator. The God inspired his word. It's God breathed. God told those men what to write. And it's flawless, and there's no contradictions, and it's perfect, and it's God's word. It didn't come from the Babylonians, Carl. You're Jewish. You should know this stuff. Well, you do now. Okay?
During the Babylonian captivity of 600 BC. That was the best science on the planet then. But we've learned something since then.
They had the best science on the planet, the Babylonians did. Well, they might have had some good science, but the people of Adam and Eve lived to be 900 years old. They probably knew lots more than we know today. And
It seems interesting then that they couldn't live longer than that if they knew so much and had such long natural lifespans. If they, knew so much more than us. It's interesting that they didn't visit the moon, that they didn't build megacities. I find it very interesting that everyone still seems to be of a lower level of technological progress, never above that of the society of the times that these stories were written.
Adam came pre-programmed from the hand of God, fully loaded computer. He could walk, talk, name the animals first day, and get married. Yeah, maybe that wasn't too smart, but the other three were. Okay, no, it was fine.
Roman Catholicism, Reformed Judaism, most of the mainstream Protestant denominations.
Listen, I am not Protestant. I'm not Catholic. I'm Baptist.
I am fairly certain that, and correct me if I'm wrong because I do not know or care enough about this stuff, that Baptist falls under a branch of Protestantism, which was a rejection of some Anglican variant of Catholicism, if I am correct. Again, I am not sure. The evolution of religion, especially of Christianity, is an incredibly complex subject that quite bores me. But I feel like this is in the same vein as Kent claiming that Catholics are not Christian, which I don't know.
There's a difference. We cover that.
Not I would certainly not go that far. Indeed, I would say the more primitive, so to speak, of your faith, or your faith is, the closer to the most original forms it is, the more of a Christian, of a whatever you are. So indeed, ironically, Kent Hovind is one of the least Christian of the actual Christians. Because I'm weird like that.
On video number 7. Why are you bad? I showed what we do a few months ago on that.
Oh, and I was going to say deviant. That is why you have still been requested to see if any one in Sweden would happen to be interested in this weird guy here on the internet, so that it could make my escaping of this country that bit more rewarding. Yes, we'll go with that.
Baptists have always been the believers of Jesus Christ, the followers of Christ, the disciples. I covered the long history of all that. So we did not protest against the Catholics. The Baptists were always ones getting picked on by everybody.
Have no difficulty with the idea that humans have evolved from others.
So the Catholics and the Protestants have no difficulty with the idea that humans evolve. Well, it's a good thing I'm not one of them. I got a problem with it because it didn't happen, Carl. You have to imagine that it happened. All you have is imagination. That's great. It's not science.
I believe Kent actually has some kind of qualification in religious education, but that only goes so far.
The creatures, that the Earth is 4.6 billion years old.
I have a problem with that. A lot of 40
Thank you, Laura. You got to it before I would have actually said my comment that, yeah, Protestant is, or Baptist is a branch of Protestantism.
20% of the U.S. population doesn't believe that, Carl. Only 22% are atheistic evolutionists, according to the Gallup survey. We outnumber you 2 to 1. You guys are the vast.
Baba Ali with Yamato. Protestant reject the authority of the Pope. Anglicans are Protestant. There we go. Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you for that clarification, because I did say Anglican out of a matter of thinking, given that we were talking about England, I believe, for that Reformation. Again, I'm not sure on this stuff. It doesn't interest me. But yeah, I knew that Protestantism was a rejection of the Pope. I guess maybe I forgot the whole Anglican aspect that is that's going to be Protestant. I got them a little mixed up. So again, thank you. That's the key thing. And yes, Kent's volume is really low, Marty. It's been like that since last night. It's been rough. That's a shame, Maria. One should not be discriminated from being able to go to another country and just move because of age. That seems very, very weird to me. In the worst of ways, much like a lot of things in this country.
Minority. Why don't you go start a little private school?
And yet, you know, with you, Maria, having been in the military, it is an interesting statement that you would wish to move somewhere else. Whereas someone like Kent and his ilk would see that as, not loving the country. But again, that's yet another discussion for another time.
Teach evolution to those that want to pay and come learn it and stunt their kids' growth.
With the Big Bang, they don't have any trouble with that.
His qualification in religious education is still from a diploma mill, and his PhD is in Christian education. So, hello, my name is Kent Hovind, was to get his Christian education degree. Right, I remember now. Start arguing with Kent that Baptists don't exist. They are just Christians. Their religions evolve, and evolution doesn't exist according to him, so Baptists don't exist. You and I are thinking the same thing, Talius. Same thing. Clearly, you all are enjoying this very, very reserved stream of mine. How I've managed to so far go an hour of broadcasting and not drop any bombs of any kind. Let us continue.
Have trouble with it? Where's the science behind that? Where's the science for all the matter and energy fitting in a dot smaller than an atom? You know how much energy all these stars have burned up and are still burning right now? Add all that.
Yes, but energy is always conserved. Matter is always conserved. It doesn't just disappear. It's converted. Heavier elements. The star stuff we're made of. Again, something incredibly beautiful, but not something you would understand, Kent.
That energy together and stick it in a dot. That's a hot dot. It's stupid to believe such a thing. Absolutely insane.
And if you happen to be in the Zadara Discord, Rosina has already made the armadillo cow, and it is as amazingly nightmarish as I expected, yet especially the second render, it looks incredibly Guild Wars-esque, and I rather like it. If it was still tame, it would be okay. I guess I imagined it gaining an understanding of us being an enemy and rebelling against us. Anyway, enough about armadillo cows. We must go back to the Hovind, for I wish to finish this video so I can drop many, many profanities, words of curse, and blaspheme at maximum degrees to make up for this extremely polite stream that I'm doing.
You guys are bonkers.
The trouble comes with people who are biblical literalists, who believe that the Bible is dictated by the creator of the universe, to an unerring stenographer.
And so therefore they
What volume does energy take up? An incredibly deep question. None? All? Anything in between? Who knows? Indeed, that is actually a key element in the sci-fi project I've been working on recently. In energy having a certain lack of volume, and it's a little hard for me to describe without giving you a treatise on the entire universe this is set in. So yeah. It just suffices to say I've thought about this question myself.
And has no metaphor or allegory.
and from
It was dictated to the people, and they wrote it down. But it can still have metaphor. We do that all the time. A hunger is a horse. I could eat a horse or something. It's a metaphor. The Bible has metaphors in it. So you're mixing two things together, Carl. From
there they make their political and economic choices and social choices
and scientific
choices and science.
Right. I wish all of our congressmen, senators, presidents, everybody had a biblical worldview. The founders of this country did mostly. Maybe that's why they wrote in the Declaration, we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are, how did that go? Created equal. They're endowed.
You know, if the founding fathers were aware of how those words would have been misinterpreted 250 years later, they would have made a different word choice.
By Charles Darwin with certain rights. No, it wasn't it. What did it say? Endowed by the Creator. That was it. Yeah.
Batteries store energy, chemical energy, in the form of matter that goes through a particular reaction. But energy in and of itself, that's a question. Because at that point, you're talking about a carrier medium, a storage medium. Electrical flow is, there's a medium it's going through. It's like cars on a road, but what does the actual car take up? If the car is energy, it becomes a weird paradox of the mind of like, well, in this case, it actually be no space. It's an intrinsic property of what's going on. And that's as you start to see reality breaking down, as basically is what quantum physics kind of is. It's kind of watching the entire universe fall apart in a beautiful way. And then you rebuild it back together and everything makes sense. I love it. Just don't have any professional training in it because it's all probably ironically above my level, which is fine.
Any other country had a foundation like that? Maybe that's why we're a great nation that we are, even though we've messed up pretty bad. Let's go a few more minutes on Carl here.
Scientific, and that's part of your problem with that idea.
Exactly.
It is that because for the wrong reasons we make the wrong choices about science.
The wrong reason is to believe in evolution. Then you make a wrong choice about science. You're polluting our.
Yes, Baba Ali, that is the exact line of thinking I was going down. So mommy and daddy don't create new people. If the word implies a supernatural entity, at least according to Kent.
Good science with your stupid religion of evolution. Prove me wrong. Anybody call in?
Let us know how many times he's said stupid religion and what I've said in contrast. Again, being very polite, very reserved in this.
That's 30 minutes, brother. Where are we at? 8 minutes and 39 seconds. Let's try to finish up to the 9-minute mark, and then we will go tomorrow night, same thing. Any questions?
That's right. So who is more humble? The scientist who looks at mind and accepts whatever the universe has to teach us?
Yes, Deviant, since you weren't here for the opening of this stream, it is simply to prove the point that for all my flamboyant nature, the character I play in streams and the like, I can behave like this. I can react in this capacity. But Kent cannot. That he will continue to be bitter, hostile, rude, and otherwise unpleasant. Whereas I can approach things, should I choose to, far more appropriately according to him than he himself does. Thus, to effectively show that I am by far a better person than Kent in this regard. But I just play a complete jerk as a character for my streams.
Okay? Let's look at the universe with an open mind.
Let's be clear, the reality of my everyday just natural reactions are somewhere in between, a little bit more towards my character, certainly. But I will also often play into things.
There are 70 sextillion stars that we know of. There's probably more that we don't know. We don't know about the ones we don't know about, but there's probably more. You really think all that fit in a dot smaller than an atom and came from an explosion? I'm sorry, a rapid expansion, a big bang. And now they know it's stupid to say the matter.
Deviant, Sweden had a population in 2023 of 10.54 million. Finland had 5.58 and Norway had 5.52, which, wow, I'm surprised at the discrepancy between the two, but I should look at the geography again. I may be missing something. There's people out there.
Matter traveled faster than light, so they say the space was expanding with the matter. So it does.
No, not with the matter, Kent. The empty space simply expands due to the nature of vacuum pressure, i.e. dark energy. It's a value that's been calculated and is understood. What dark energy is quite the mystery, but its existence, the effect that we call that, in much the same way we actually don't understand how gravity works and that we don't have a functional force carrier for it. We don't have the graviton and are not sure if it does or does not exist. We know dark energy has an effect as we describe it. We just haven't gotten into the nitty gritty of it. But again, like the other facets of science, you're behind on this. All this is far more cutting edge than science that has been settled a century or more ago. You're still behind. You must move to the current, move to the present, address the concerns of the future for your opinion to even matter, regardless of your qualifications or lack thereof, for you to even have a chance at just casual conversation in the fields. You must become up to date, Kent. And that will never happen with you because that's, no pun intended, against your religion.
Doesn't have to travel faster than light. So if you get pulled over for a speeding ticket, say, officer, I was not exceeding the speed limit. The distance between me and where I was is expanding. Rapid, I wasn't speeding at all. I was sitting still. Yeah.
From a perspective, thanks to relativity, Kent, you were sitting still. Relativity is really funny like that. Terrifyingly funny. I'm the kind of guy who wonders about the rate of time dilation between of someone walking past me at work and me otherwise standing still performing whatever task I'm working on. It's an absolutely minuscule amount, but I know it happens. I'm just wired to ponder this stuff. It's just the difference between us, I guess, Kent. I wonder things. I find beauty in not knowing. I find the universe to be ultimately beautiful, if aspects of it are certainly ultimately horrific. You don't have that. You're incapable of understanding that, of feeling that. I pity you for that, because you've missed out on the joy of living for this. What a wasted life.
See how far that goes.
Or somebody who says everything in this book must be considered the literal truth and
With your evolution teaching, you consider that literal truth. You're not willing to question it. I do believe everything in the book is literal truth.
Again, because all the work to question and test and demonstrate these things has been done. We're past that.
Truth. But I'm not demanding that it be taught to all the kids at taxpayer expense. You guys are. You don't get it.
And yet you are lying in that, because you actually have content, you and your team at Dinosaur Adventureland or the original Dinosaur Adventureland and the original CSE, had created, intended for public school. So you're lying on not wishing to teach it. You are.
You don't want to get it.
Never mind the fallibility of all the human beings involved in the writing of this book.
My question is,
Oh, yes, we have a $4.99 super chat from Rosina. To be fair to Kent, matter does co-move with the expansion of the universe. Under general relativity, there is no gravitons or graviolis. I'd say it depends on perspective, but what's being acted upon is the void, the area that has no real gravitational distortion to it, no mass to bend space-time. And the other stuff is just along for the ride would be an analogy. But from a relative standpoint, nothing changes in those sections of mass. So, it isn't like the Milky Way and Andromeda get distorted as the rest of the void that we're on the cusp of expands. That's my perspective on it.
given all these demotions, what is your personal religion, or is there any type of God to you? Like, is
Good place to start tomorrow, 9/13. Okay, questions and comments? Let me guess, crybaby's in here. Not in here? What happened?
We still have 5 more minutes. I've made it 25 minutes of his video, and I have been very, very nice. I will continue to be nice all through this stream. I hope you all have appreciated this, and I certainly hope that Hovindites and such watch this and understand who I can be versus the character I play, and conversely look at how Kent presents himself in what is supposed to be his sermons, his teachings, in him as this supposedly good Christian preacher.
Do you understand the prophetic program versus mystery program? Well, explain what you mean by that a little better. The Bible certainly gives a lot of prophecies, and I think so far hundreds have come true, and the rest are going to.
Well, the prophetic program prophesizes something in your Commodore 64, and the mystery program does who knows what. It might boost your RAM by 62 gigas. It might defraggle the mother disk. It could copy that floppy, and you don't want it to copy that floppy. Can you imagine that? 64 gigs of memory on a Commodore 64? What would you do with it? Run 12 million copies of Gianna Sisters? And not even be scratching the surface? I don't know.
To come true without fail. There's not going to be a single failure. But I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Okay? Let's see. Do you think validity of Codex, Sinaiticus, and Vaticanus? No, I'd be very careful. You want to go to avpublications.com, authorized version, and get the long story behind that.
Yes, that I'd love to hear, because I wonder who authorized these things, Kent, because last I checked, the authorities on any of this stuff were your deity, or deities, depending on how you look at the Jesus character. Technically, I consider Christianity to be a polytheistic religion.
There's a lot of books by Gail Ripplinger and other people on this topic about, 51 reasons why you better use the King James. I'd be real cautious about the other Bible versions. I covered that video 7. One guy did a couple of great books on that, Kevin Mann. I forgot, Joseph, to plug this one for tonight. He goes through different numbers in the Bible, like the number 6 is amazing, the number of man, the number 13. I did a show years ago, and I can't find it now. Maybe some of you have it recorded somewhere, or an article I wrote. I wrote the article and then did a show on it called 17. What a number. The number 17 is stunning, but Kevin's done a great job on taking.
And 1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Like you being single right now, because Sandra left you. Is that being mean? I didn't use any profanity. I just made a quip. So I think I was still nice. Being polite is kind of the thing here. Being apt. Being rated G. It seems I have failed to use the internet correctly. Let me click here and magically it works.
Different numbers. How many different books of his do we sell now, brother? 4 or 5 of them. 5 of them. Okay, go on drdino.com, DRDINO, and look for Kevin Mann's books. They're great. You want to study it's called biblical numerology.
The Bill Gates quote is actually 640K, and that was a reference to DOS's memory limit, because in all practicality, in running MS-DOS, you truly didn't need to address more than 640K at the time. And that's what his quote was referencing at the time. And yes, I too remember floppy disks, and have quite a few, primarily for my Commodore 128.
That's a rabbit trail you can chase for the rest of your life. It's amazing. So anyway, okay, how do we get off? Okay, dear Trevor, were you the fill-in pastor in Folkestone, Georgia recently? No? I don't think I was. I would have done a fine job. Okay, that wasn't me. Let's see. Thoughts on Augustine of Hippo? He should get off. Those things are dangerous. They kill people. Yeah. I don't know enough about it to answer that one. I've heard of it. I read it years ago, but that's not my specialty. Okay. You familiar with Gerald Schroeder? I am, but I've heard the name. I've heard some of his stuff. I don't remember what he teaches. To give me some specifics, particular doctrines. I don't ever give anybody a blanket recommendation. I believe everything he believes. I take him pace, slice at a time. Tell me each doctrine. We'll talk about it. Eugene, I used your seminar to teach hundreds of people since the early 90s. Hope to meet you. Well, come to Lenox, Alabama. It's free. Come on down.
No, Kent, it's not free. Travel costs money. Fuel prices are high. Transit costs are high. Everything is expensive right now and will continue to be so for many more years. The United States economy has a long way to go to get to a stage where things aren't expensive. Linux isn't free to go to. Period. There's going to be a cost. Even if you lived right off Pearl Lane on the crossroad going north-south, just walking to DAL would cost in the expenditure of energy. There's always a cost. So that's as far as my point went. Also, I must point out again his constant demands for people to come down to DAL, excuse me, as opposed to him going anywhere else, because his traveling days are mostly over.
Come stay for a couple days. Okay, thank you, brother. Please.
Occasionally traveling here or there, like his trip to Nashville the other week, but that's about it.
Take the videos, spread them around. Copy them all you want. Don't sell them. Keep it coming. Really appreciate you. You've followed you for many years. So has the KGB, the IRS, the FBI. They're all following you, brother. Prayers for more ears to hear and let the Spirit lead and guide. Good. Appreciate that. Thank you. I think your continuum argument is perfect when you debate Big Bang, time, space, matter. Thank you. Appreciate that. Each of those is a trinity, and they have to come into
Time and space are one and the same. It's space-time. It's like electricity and magnetism is one thing, electromagnetism.
existence in order. You have to have time, space, matter. God created time and then space and then matter. He showed so in 10 words in Genesis 1:1. Watch my show, a 2-minute video answer, where did God come from? I think it's up to 950 million views, somebody said, all the channels put together. They went around and added them up. That's a lot. We got to get to 1 billion. So go for it. Okay. You're familiar with Trey Smith. His Noah documentary is fantastic.
Sorry, I was delayed a moment due to yawning because Kent is boring. You want to get to 1 billion, Kent? You are no Gangnam Style. And I still like Gangnam Style. I've never liked your content, however.
You would enjoy it. I've met Trey. I think I meet so many people, brother, and I forget. There's 3 signs of a genius. Ever tell you about that? One is a poor memory, and I forgot the other 2. So I don't. Trey, call in. Remind me who you are.
You are not a genius, Kent. Far from it. You are a skilled con man. That's it.
A picture and stuff like that. Yeah, go ahead. Nicholas, Dr. Hovind, I hope you and the crew are doing well. My question is, what inspires you in science? I've always wanted just to learn things. My dad was an engineer. My mom was a kindergarten teacher, taught us how to read and love reading. And I want to learn. I want to learn things. So I've learned evolution is stupid. And
You obviously don't wish to learn, Kent, because you know very little even about the subjects you focus on and seem to despise to the level you do. All evidence points to you just lying again.
if you believe it, you really got duped. Somebody ought to sell you the Golden Gate Bridge, right? Hey, can you say hi, Alexis and Elijah? We love your work. Hi, Alexis and Elijah. We love your work. Is that what I was supposed to say?
I knew he was going to go there, and I can't even get mad about that. I would make the same joke.
What kind of work do you do? That it? Okay, tomorrow night, bring it on, you guys. And then the next night, come with us in July to Kentucky. Take on the atheists, all of them. One topic at a time, no interrupting, no cursing. That'll shut them off right there. One.
I didn't know it was coming, but that's just the perfect end for the stream right there. What did I just do? What did I just accomplish just to show I could? I believe I dropped no words that would be considered profanities, maybe a mild one, but I don't think I said anything remotely unacceptable.
Yeah. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.
And it is over. I have succeeded. Everyone give me the round of applause that I most certainly, it's the one time you'll see I have an ego that I most certainly deserve. Because I went through an entire Kent Hovind video and I stayed calm, I stayed polite, I still addressed it, I still disagreed, I even threw a bit of snark in there. But I don't think I used a single bit of profanity, even mild profanity, or anything of the sort. I think I did a good job. But that's up to you to decide in the live chat as this stream is going on and in the comments after the fact. I want to know how good a job I did. Should I continue this format? Should I mix in? Should I start by being calm and then once I lose my sanity, just go off into tangents? I don't know, because I actually do kind of enjoy approaching things like this. It's just, it is hard. And I know people tune in for the insanity. But we'll see how things go. And maybe if I take some more serious debunks or more condensed debunks, do more short videos like Simandan and Creaky do. I really would love to do something like TMM does, but I just have never, I don't do good with the narration. I hate trying to do narration. Alternately, if I really felt like going through the editing, I could take a live stream and condense it down, but sorry, another yawn came through. I just don't have that patience. But we'll see, because I definitely need to upload more conventional content aside from the live streams. But again, we'll see what happens. That being said, it is 6:18 Central Daylight Time. I want to go eat and play some Guild Wars and get stuff done before the reset. Let me just double check everyone's comments. Aside from Allie talking about dysentery in Oregon Trail, I am a fan of the 68K/Power PC Oregon Trail CD. That's what I had in elementary school. Love it. I have made it to Oregon. So, yeah. We got many rounds of applause from the lovely loyals. Trying to get Kent to notice me. Well, part of this is that I do potentially want to give him something to whack, should he choose to. Something that they can play without any issue. But, you know, he's already noticed me enough in his videos, and I feel I am truly a thorn in his side. Let's see, what else? Congratulations. Is there a drink or an edible or both? I can go for both. I thought it was just proving a point. I think it was proven, so I wouldn't mind going back to the usual format. I say start calm, then go off when irritation sets in. Maybe we should get you a bell so you can ding it like Teen Skeptic used to. Yeah. Thank you, Maria, for the good job compliment. Yeah, Deviant. I mean, I talk about like moving to Sweden and the like. And, I have friends who want to go, like Maria here. People in this community want to go places. And I don't know. I wish immigration in all aspects is so complicated. With a Hovind video, may start off irritated in the first minute. Exactly. There's no winning necessarily with a Hovind video. The best game is not to play, but that doesn't mean any good content comes up. But yeah, this at least allows me, shows you what I can do. And it may be a fun approach going down the line. And you've heard me do this before in small doses, but never a whole stream. But that being said, I'm going to go on and hop off here. I'll, of course, be reachable in Discord. Other links down below. My, forums, Final Zone BBS. Check it out. Post some stuff. Check out what my friends are doing. You want to post on the image board, secret bonus point. It's a place to goof off. Have fun. That's the stuff I do. But yeah, everyone have a wonderful night. And as far as Kent Hovind goes,